he's versatile. He drops a little bit deeper. You get more out of him than just a lone striker who can go out there and score goals. Yep. Whereas Haaland, I mean, obviously it's impossible to argue with the numbers there. He's more than double in about the same number of games. This is going to be fun. Who is the better player, Erling Haaland or Julián Alvarez? Might be an easy one to decide when you look at it first up, but when you look a little bit further into it, it's much more interesting. Erling Haaland, they played a very similar number of games, 368 for Haaland, 326 for Alvarez. Alvarez is a year older, 25 compared to 24. A lot more goals, as we know, for Haaland, 300 versus 132. Pretty much the same in terms of assists. More trophies for the Argentinian. He's obviously had a huge amount of success with his national side. We'll start by talking about the Norwegian. Yeah. And he's an interesting player because he's more of a one-trick pony, I suppose. He is that target man striker. Do you think we've seen the best of him in the past? Is he someone who can improve even more as we go into the future, or is what we've seen what we're going to get from him?
No, I think me and you were both very lucky, obviously, working around the Bundesliga when he arrived at Borussia Dortmund, to watch him arrive on the scene and then obviously score hat-trick in his first game was something pretty special and unique and different. His goal record, obviously, outstanding, 86 and 89 when it comes to goals and appearances for Borussia Dortmund. And then we thought he's going to struggle in the Premier League because you can go from Austria to the Bundesliga. That's a jump where it's maybe manageable, but Premier League's going to be too tough for him, right? At least that's what the English were saying. Always the Premier League is the cream of the crop, and that's where players are found out. This guy was the difference maker, though. If you look at the goals that he's scored compared to matches, I mean, he has broken records, being the fastest to 50. I mean, he scored 52 goals across all competitions in one season for Manchester City. He has broke, I think, 25 different goal-scoring records at Manchester City. And I think he's the fastest player to ever score 250 goals across all competitions for club and country. Faster than Lionel Messi, faster than Cristiano Ronaldo, faster than any goal scorer out there. He is an absolute killer. When I'm looking at a goal scorer, someone who can change a team from being a very good competitive team. Let's take one club, for example, Arsenal Football Club. Can't get over that finish line, right? They can't be that Premier League champion, and they want to be successful Premier League champions. You put a player like him in their team, they're automatically, in my opinion, Premier League favourites.
I do remember, because I was covering the Premier League that first season, and those first few months when he was scoring goal after goal after goal, and it was shockwaves. I think that was the best way to describe it. I remember interviewing, defenders, sort of, it's like they've seen an earthquake afterwards. Managers not really knowing how to stop him. They obviously, and over time, and you saw that obviously in the last season, the numbers weren't quite as good. It took a while for the league as a whole to figure out how to defend against him because he was offering something completely different. But that first, I'd say, 6-month period, there was no answers, really. It was just a case of how many he was going to score. And when he was streaking through, whether he was the last man and was able to get, past the defender in that way, or he was coming deep to pick the ball up, either way, ball at feet or running onto something, he was just unstoppable. I think the difference is, you mentioned they're coming deep. He's not necessarily that player, right? And I think that's one play that he's had to sort of adjust in his game. We watched Thierry Henry break that down on one of our Champions League shows, and it was excellent. And that's where I think, sorry to cut you off, I think that's where the criticism comes from. And when I say one-trick pony, is that he doesn't do a lot of that. You get one style of play from him.
Does he need to?
I suppose that's
the difference, though, right? What we're looking at is we're looking at a goal scorer. We're looking at an absolute killer. This guy's going to be captain of Manchester City next season, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? He's going to lead the way. He's obviously someone that's well-liked within that locker room. He's someone that is great energy. He's very positive. His celebrations are absolutely epic. He's well-connected, and I think he's connected to the supporters as well. So that obviously makes him a leader within that group. And Pep Guardiola has seen something in him and to bring him to the football club and obviously take that club to the next step. And I think what he's done is he's basically proven everybody wrong in the Premier League. But I still think there's room for improvement as far as the big games, right? Where some games, you can see him Champions League final, for example, against Inter. He had opportunities, just really, we didn't see enough of that Erling Haaland. Where's that killer? Sometimes against the best quality defences, he can go missing because he's not that player that's going to drop off and link up with midfield. He's not that player that's going to get the ball on the halfway line and run forward. He's a killer inside that penalty area, so you've got to create chances for him.
And so much in football is about narrative. This was a supposedly bad season for Erling Haaland. 45 matches, still got over 30 goals, 7 games where he scored more than one goal, and he got 4 assists as well. So I mean, it's hard to look at that and say, I mean, he underperformed compared to the ridiculous bar he set at the start at City, but it's still a good season.
45 matches, 31 goals, missed a couple of months as well. Let's not forget about that one. Give the guy some credit.
credit given. Obviously, the connection between Haaland and Alvarez. Alvarez played for Manchester City. Here he is in the blue for City.
Substitute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was a substitute. Was it the right call? I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing in all things in life, but was it the right call for him to leave Manchester City at the time he did?
Yeah, I think that was an individual decision to leave Manchester City because he wanted to play more regularly. He understood that Erling Haaland was going to be #1 as that striker in that position, and it was going to be very difficult for Julián Alvarez to actually break into that team and stay in that team. He played a lot of games for Manchester City, and if you look at the statistics, they don't lie, but there's still more goals out there for him. And a lot of these matches are appearances off the bench where he had 15, 20, 30 minutes in games. It's not easy for a sub to be able to impact a game like that, but he still had a hell of an impact and won a lot of matches, obviously, for them. And obviously, during his time at Manchester City, he had a lot of success as well, including in the World Cup. So this is an unbelievable player. This is someone who was great for Manchester City at the time and very well missed by Manchester City since he's departed that football club, because no longer can you turn to a Julián Alvarez to come off the bench and be the difference maker to get you back in games, or someone to step in when Erling Haaland is not fit. But this guy, and I would going to throw this out there, he's a more complete player than Erling Haaland. If we look at Erling Haaland, the killer, the goal scorer, the in-the-box, devil, this guy's more complete. He offers a little bit more as far as technically gifted. He can hit a dead ball. We know that as well with the images you just saw in free kick situations. He is a goal scorer. There's no question about it. And already what he's done at Atleti has been really impressive.
Yeah, he's also mentally strong too, because there were question marks over him after he left City. Can you do it at another big club? Are you that good? And I think he has answered some of those questions this season in Spain. I think just to touch on a point you made there, and I think that is very, very true, the question here is who is better? Is it who is better as just an individual footballer, one or the other, or also what they contribute to the team? Because I think that's a different debate. Are you asking me, for example, would I rather have Haaland or Julián Alvarez? If I'm talking about a team, I might lean potentially a bit more towards him, because he gives, as you said, your answer was perfect. He's versatile. He drops a little bit deeper. You get more out of him than just a lone striker who can go out there and score goals. Whereas Haaland, I mean, obviously it's impossible to argue with the numbers there. He's more than double in about the same number of games. So I think if you're talking about just an individual player who is better, you have to lean towards Haaland.
The reason why I'm saying exactly this, there's only one answer for me. I mean, Erling Haaland is a goal scorer that any team in world football would love to have. I mean, Atlético Madrid would replace Julián Alvarez for Erling Haaland in a heartbeat. He's that type of player. He's that type of killer. He's that type of goal scorer. Real Madrid, Barcelona, it doesn't matter. Whoever they have in this position, they would take Erling Haaland in a heartbeat, because he's that guy. He can be a difference maker between you being a good team and a competitive team in European competition, domestically also, but he's a killer. The goals don't lie. 300 goals and 368 matches is ridiculous.
And last question, in modern football, the way the game has gone, no way to accommodate both of these two in the same team at the same time?
I think they're different players. Julián Alvarez can actually float off that striker, so there's no doubt in my mind. And you have seen them play together as well for City at some point. So I think, Julián Alvarez can play around Erling Haaland, but I just don't think that Haaland's that type of guy that wants to share that area. I think he's the goal scorer, and let's forget about everything else. If you can create, that's why he gets that number, right? So if you have a Julián Alvarez, you don't get that number.
Yeah, but what you're saying hypothetically, I know it's not going to happen, but if Haaland went to Atleti, you think you'd have the same issue? You wouldn't be able to accommodate them in the same team?
I mean, obviously, he's having that issue at Atleti right now. You've got Sorloth competing with him, Griezmann competing with him. You've got a lot of offensive players who are competing with him, and we haven't seen him start every single game there. The goals don't lie. What he's done already at Atleti has been very impressive, but they ain't Erling Haaland numbers. He's a fabulous player. Take nothing away from him. He's a world-class player. But Erling Haaland is on another level when it comes to statistics. Statistics wins you trophies. Wins you trophies is excellent. This is confusing to me, though. 15 trophies for club and country is outstanding for a Julián Alvarez, and it's very difficult to argue against that. But at the end of the day, if there's one player, who would you choose in your team? For me, it would be Erling Haaland.
Yeah, only one answer. He said it, and he delivered. Let us know what you think.